Dearly beloved, we are here today not to celebrate, but to excoriate the unholy union between Congressman Bresnahan and the One Big Beautiful Bill Act. Boom. My name is Reverend Mark Steer. I'm the Executive Director of the Pennsylvania Policy Center. We are joined by a number of co-celebrants, including Fair Share America, who has brought their bus, Billionaires giveaway bus tour back to the city to celebrate this glorious event, and by a number of other co-celebrants, Pennsylvanians Together, Together NEPA, For Our Future, MomsRising, and Commonwealth Communications. I'm pleased to see so many people here today to excoriate this union. I'm pleased that so many of you have been paying attention and taking note of what your congressman has done. Before the vote for the One Big Beautiful Bill Act, we brought many of you together many times. We asked at those events if any of you object to the union between Congressman Bresnahan and the One Big Beautiful Bill Act. We asked you to speak up or forever hold your peace. You spoke up then. Are you here to speak up again? Yes. What did you say at all those events when you spoke up? You said that there's never been any legislation in American history that so dramatically redistributed income and wealth from working people and the middle class to the very richest Americans and corporations. You said that 300,000 to 400,000 people would be thrown off Medicaid as a result of this bill, including between 25,000 and 35,000 people in this congressional district. You said that between 400,000 and 1 million people would lose SNAP benefits because of this bill, including somewhere between 15,000 and 20,000 people in this congressional district. You said that the state budget would take a massive hit between $200 million and $1 billion because of this legislation. You said that you didn't want to give these gifts at this union because you know who these gifts are going to. These gifts from this union are going to the richest people in this country and the richest people in Pennsylvania. The average gift from this unholy union to the richest Pennsylvanians is about $55,000 a year. And that's about the average salary for the average Pennsylvanian. And all of us here today are going to sacrifice, are going to give a gift to these people as a result of this wedding. When Congressman Bresnahan ran for office, he made a solemn vow to his constituents. He said he would forsake all others and do the work for you. Instead, he's violated those vows, overthrown his commitments for the floozies of our richest corporations and richest people who have been giving money to him and to other Republican congressmen. And we're here to say, no, we do not accept it. No, we do not believe that this is what a congressman from this congressional district should be doing. So I want to thank you for what you've done before. I want to thank you for being here today. I want to thank you for what you're going to be doing in the future, because we are not going to forget this union. We're not going to forget what it means to all of us and to our fellow Pennsylvanians. We are not going to forget Congressman Bresnahan's broken vows and the impact it's had on the people of Pennsylvania. Am I right? We are going to remind him, and we are going to remind each other from now through the next 2 years until we get different representation for people this area. So, with that introduction, I want to introduce my co-celebrant, Kristen Crowell. She's the Executive Director of Fair Share America. She's my friend and my colleague, someone who I've been working with in this fight for 10 years, and I'm really thrilled that she's here today and that she can take part in this effort to make everyone understand what this congressman has done by violating his vows to the people of Congressional District 8. Kristen.
Good evening. Make no mistake, I am not a reverend or a pastor. I am the executive director of Fair Share America. My name is Kristen Kroll, and it is a true honor and privilege to be here back in Pennsylvania 8, for the second time in over 5 weeks. Fair Share America is an organization that works across 38 states with over 400 partners and a national movement to make sure that the ultra-wealthy and corporations pay their fair share. We kicked off the Stop the Billionaire giveaway bus tour on June 21st, and we have been all over the country, including, this is the 7th stop in Pennsylvania alone. The bus tour started as Congress was debating the big ugly bill, and we were all doing the work. So I want to thank you for making the calls, doing the office visits, phoning Representative Bresnahan over and over again and begging and pleading and saying, please side with us, your constituents, working families, the seniors, the veteran, the children. We also said that we were drawing a line in the sand, that either the GOP members of Congress were with us or they were with the billionaires. And today we're back because, as we know, the bill was passed with 1 vote to spare. We do know that this is now law, and we are going to talk about the implications on our families and our communities. We're going to hear from an expert panel about the impacts at our local level. And then we're going to do new work. We're going to start to forge the path ahead so that never again will billionaires and politicians in Washington, D.C. hijack our politics and hijack our lives to enrich the ultra-rich at our expense. And so Mark said that we were giving gifts of our tax dollars to billionaires class. Well, I want to be on the record. I don't consent to give my gifts to the billionaire class. I don't consent for all of the hours that we work and we pay our taxes. I don't consent to them going to the handouts, to folks who have more money in their bank accounts than they can ever spend in their lifetime. $4.5 trillion of our treasure, of our tax dollars, was given to the ultra-wealthy to slash critical programs that we rely on: healthcare, food assistance, Pell Grants. I could go on, and we're going to talk about that tonight. I'm also here to give you a report and an update on what's happening all over the country. I have been an organizer for over 27 years, and the moment that we are in is something unlike anything that I have ever seen. People are coming out. They are raising their voices. They are mad as hell, regardless of who they voted for last November. They are mad as hell that our work is being sacrificed and stolen to give billionaires a handout. So I want to also share with you that all over the country, folks are coming together in town halls like this, standing shoulder to shoulder, making sure we all know exactly what's in this bill, because we have work to do in terms of educating the general public, talking to our neighbors and our family members and our friends. And there's a different conversation happening in this country, because while Donald Trump and the Republicans promised and campaigned on lowering prices, standing up for working people, having working people's backs, we now know all of that was blatant lies. The job loss report a few days ago demonstrates how many folks are losing their job. The tariffs and the economics that are being passed down and the cost of living that we know is going up. All of this is before the cuts of this bill will be impacting our families and our communities. So we now know, and I can share, thousands of people all over this country are in this growing movement with you and with us. So give yourselves a round of applause. If this is your first time at one of our community events, I want to thank you and welcome you to this fight, because there truly is a place for every single family in this movement. And that is what it's going to take. We are not naive that taking on the billionaire class is a scary proposition. It is a big fight. But right now, it is the biggest and most important fight for our generation, for our children, for our elderly, so that all of us can live lives with dignity and we can go to work knowing that our tax dollars aren't being stolen and handed out to rich people. So tonight, we're going to invite a panel of experts up into the stage and we're going to have a conversation. I encourage you, while you are listening, to take down some of the facts that are going to be shared. We're already seeing the Republicans go on a tour of lies and disinformation. They are already out saying, well, this bill isn't this bad. It won't really kick off 500,000 Pennsylvanians from Medicare and Medicaid. They are out there trying to spin lies. So number one, tonight we want to make sure that everyone has the facts so that we can continue to educate every single person. Because when people know what went down and people know what's in this bill, they hate this bill. The public is on our side. The majority of Americans are so opposed to this bill being passed. And we are going to keep this momentum up. We are going to continue to organize, and never again will we let the billionaires hijack our politics. If you have, as you are listening to our panelists, we are also going to invite at the end of this program time for you all to share your stories or ask questions. Again, this is for you to get as much as you can tonight so that you can go back and become an organizer in our movement. So take notes, think of questions you may have for any number of us. And with that, I want to welcome our panelists to the stage. Okay, we are going to start by giving everyone up here a chance to introduce themselves and a little bit of a description of why you are here tonight and why are you in this fight. So thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me. My name is Dawn Simmons. I live in Luzerne County. I'm a realtor. I'm running for Luzerne County Council. And just as a resident of the NEPA area, I have felt and seen the effects of how this bill has affected our families, mine included. And I have something to say about that, and I feel like I can share some enlightenment and some information to hopefully share it with all you guys so that we can be more equipped to go out into the communities and share our fight and share our strength.
Hi, my name is Jen Graham-Partika. I'm a registered nurse, I'm a mom, and I'm a patient advocate, and I will tell you more in just a second.
Hi, thank you for having me here. My name is Yesenia Rodriguez. I am a community organizer with Action Together. I am I live in Hazleton, part of Luzerne County, and I was a small business owner as well. So I have encountered with a lot of small business and seeing what this Oakley bill is doing already to those in our community. So I'll tell you more about it later. Thank you.
Hi everyone, my name is Omar de la Cruz, and I'm also a community organizer from Hazleton, but I work with Make the Road Pennsylvania, and I'm an immigrant, and my community is suffering particularly right now, so I'm hoping to get to talk about it a little bit here.
Let's see if this is working. Hi, again, I'm Mark Steer. I'm the Executive Director of the Pennsylvania Policy Center, and I'm here to provide factual information about the bill and about other relevant features of our contemporary politics. But I've got to say the most important thing is the stories that you all tell about the impact this on, and all our panelists are going to tell about the impact on people's lives from what they're doing in Washington.
So what I wanted to talk about today was the impact that my community, like I mentioned before, I am an immigrant, I'm from the Dominican Republic, and so are most people in the town of Hazleton. We have been seeing for the past few months a ramping up of ICE activity across the state, and we've been seeing people being taken from their homes, people being taken from their workplaces. One of the excuses that people tend to use is that we are here leeching off resources. But if we're leeching off resources, why do they gotta go to restaurants, to factories, to all of these places where we are working and we are showing how much we want to be here, and our people are still being taken? People are being taken off violently. Families are being separated. We are worried about how this might affect our schools. Will the students be safe while they are in class? Is ICE going to be allowed in the schools and to take them, separate them from their classmates and their families? When the kids go home, are they going to go home and not find their parents there? Because a lot of people, and I know them, they may have been born here, their status is not an issue, but their parents is, or one of their parents is, or several members of the family is. And trust me, the kids are worried. This isn't something that we don't talk about in immigrant households. If there is somebody at the house, either your grandma or a cousin or an uncle that is undocumented, everybody in the family knows. We all know somebody, either in a family or a friend, and we are all afraid. Some for themselves, and most of us for others in our lives. This bill, I'm not gonna call it the beautiful bill, because that shit ain't beautiful, but it has taken so many billions of dollars away from services that, first of all, a lot of us don't. Okay. A lot of immigrants don't use the public services. Sorry about that. A lot of immigrants don't use the public services that most Americans do. When we come here, we are told not to use them. We're told that we have to show just how resilient and independent we are, and how we're not here to leech off, because those lies that are told to everyone are also told to us. From the moment we step into this country, that were told to me when I came here 5 years ago. Those services that are also being taken from you, they're taking them from the few of us that are not afraid to use them. And the money that could be used to treat people, to further education in our communities, is instead being used to fund the violent separation of people and just destroying our communities. There are parts in this country, not just here in Pennsylvania, where you would see vibrant communities, streets, and where people would always be outside, just playing and going to stores and just living their normal life. People are scared now. The people in our community are scared. They don't want to go outside. A lot of people don't want to go to work. People don't want to go to school. People don't want to go far away in case they get taken on the way home, and who's going to take care of their kids? So all of that money that is now being used to destroy the families of immigrants could instead benefit the lives of all of us. And I'm sure the rest of the people at the panel are going to talk about that. Thank you very much.
And just to piggyback on what Omar just said, I am an immigrant myself. I immigrated to the United States when I was 14. It's not easy. People think it's easy when parents separate us or bring us here, looking for that American dream, you know, and bettering your family's education. As a 14-year-old, I never understood that. I was angry with my father the first couple of months because I wanted to go back. They strip you down for your life, you know, the kids that you're supposed to graduate with. And they bring you into a country where you don't know the language, plus on top of that, you're living your life behind. And a lot of people don't understand that, just because I always said that we're all immigrants in the United States. Different generations, but we are all immigrants, and let's never forget that. My community right now, like Omar said, is suffering a lot because of all this madness going on with the Oakley bill, because it's, like he said, it's not pretty, not even a bit. And as a community organizer with Action Together, we've been canvassing for the last couple of weeks. We've been making phone calls to the constituents, and most of the things that we've been hearing is people are really afraid. They won't even open the door for me. Latinos that are here that have illegal status, just like I do, they won't even open the door for me because they're so afraid. And it's just not right. It's not the country that we all envision. This is not what we want America to be. And we all have to stand up for it. We need to do better as humans. This is not right. I was talking to somebody last week, and he's a taxi driver, and he told me how right now they're not even seeing the services being done. Like, a lot of people are not even calling, you know, for a ride. And if they do call, they don't even have all the money to pay for it. You know, if the ride costs $10, they might have $6, $7, or $8. And what can he do? He's taking it because it's better than not having a job right now. And this thing have just started. Can you imagine when that ugly bill, you know, gets into effect? This is devastating. Our kids are devastated. I'm going to tell you a personal story that I have to deal with at home with my children. I have 6 children, but there are 3 that are adults. I have 3 little ones. My son came home when this current administration was sworn in January. He came home and he told me, "Mom, I'm afraid, are they going to take my sister away? Are they going to send her back to the Dominican?" To mind you, my kids are all born here, but 2 of them are, you know, they look white, we'll say that, Caucasian, and then my daughter is a little bit darker because she looks like my husband. And he said, because they won't take me, they will take her because she doesn't look American. Ain't that sad? I have to explain to my son that no, she's American just like you. We're all Americans.
We're all Native Americans.
Yes. So these are the sad things that are happening, and that's just happening to me. Can you imagine everything that is happening to the millions of families out there right now? It's just, even if you are a U.S. citizen, you're afraid to go out there because it's just the way you look. Because nobody's safe right now. It's not about who's legal and who's not. It's about who doesn't look like me or who doesn't do what we want them to do. So, thank you all for being here. I hope that we continue this fight because it's going to take a lot of us to make this happen, but it's not impossible. Thank you and have a great night.
First of all, thank you all so much for being here. Thank you for caring about the people who live in our communities. I prepared statements because I didn't understand the format here, but if you just bear with me, I have a lot to say as usual. My name is Jen Graham Partika. I'm a master's prepared, board certified registered nurse serving my community here in northeastern Pennsylvania for the past 30 years. During that time, I raised 3 kids who are now grown, flown, and on their own. One of my sons, who was a colicky baby, went on to have a lifetime of GI issues and was finally diagnosed with Crohn's disease several months after he turned 26, which is an age where he came off of my insurance. He was terribly sick when he was diagnosed, skin on bone with a BMI of 17, and severely anemic from the blood he was losing every single day. The biologic chemotherapy treatments he began receiving changed his life dramatically. And he will remain on these treatments every 8 weeks for the rest of his life. These treatments keep him healthy enough to live his life and go to work every day. And as soon as he felt better, that's exactly what he did. He works in operations for a smaller local nonprofit and makes just enough money that he has to reapply for his Medicaid frequently to make sure he still qualifies. Waste, fraud, and abuse do not exist. My son, like so many people on Medicaid, works over 40 hours a week. People on Medicaid are not the parasite class, as this horrible, out-of-touch administration has described them. They are your friends and your neighbors, and in this case, it's my son. He receives necessary life-saving help, works hard at a nonprofit, and serves our northeastern Pennsylvania community in a job he loves. Many people on Medicaid are hardworking people who simply cannot receive health insurance from their jobs. But I stand before you as a seasoned nurse and a patient advocate and a mother to remind you of this as well. The vast majority of people on Medicaid are children. And 60% of nursing home patients list Medicaid as their primary payer. Do you think nursing homes that are more and more corporate every single day of our lives are going to stay open when 60% of their payment source disappears? Let me also explain that Medicaid is among the top 5 payers for most hospitals in the United States. Hospitals will not stay open if you cut their funding sources. They will close. Can you imagine our area with fewer hospitals, with fewer acute care beds? Sorry about that. Ask anyone who works in our local hospitals what their experience these last few winters has been like regarding our capacity. You can even ask your wealthy, Trumpy C-suite executives from the hospitals what they think about Medicaid cuts, and they don't want them to happen. They will lose their jobs and the hospitals will close. We don't have enough beds now. We will have even fewer beds here in northeastern Pennsylvania, and we will be less safe, thanks to these irresponsible, myopic, and reckless Republicans. Medicaid cuts to vulnerable populations will cause a show-stopping crisis for entire communities. We can't afford for anyone's care to get worse, for anyone's access to care to get worse. Your friends in healthcare understand better than most that we are all human and our bodies will fail. Everyone will need care, no exceptions. There's only one way out of here, folks. It's the one thing that should unite us. It should not be something that divides us. But we need to refocus these conversations. Good government serves its people, right? We don't work and pay taxes to pay the salaries of reps who actively take things away from us, to lie to our faces as they take things away from us. We pay taxes to our government to provide services our communities need, services we might someday need, right? As we sit here, this regime is using a staged approach to try to fool us as voters. They're taking care away from the sick, food away from the hungry. They already canceled public broadcasting. They're banning books. They're curating what we see on TV. They took away emergency assistance in advance of the next hurricane season. They're firing the best of the best, doctorate levels of expertise in every government entity that requires expertise. They're poised to sell off our national parks. They're censoring historical museum exhibits. They're funding tax cuts for the rich, and they're funding masked armed teams in unmarked cars, invading our cities and kidnapping our neighbors. And Rob Bresnahan and Dave McCormick and all of the people who are bowing down to this regime voted for all of it. They enabled all of it. Boo. Boo. They're breaking their vows, they're breaking their promises, and helping to execute each ugly step of Project 2025 on our dime. Every few weeks, I spend my lunch on a government policy Zoom meeting with expert guest speakers trying my best to learn more. Actually, this guy is the one who runs them, so if anybody's interested, come see Mark. They're incredibly informative. But I'm trying to learn more, and I recently asked if I was naive to think that we can undo everything we're seeing right now. I was reassured tremendously when these experts told me it's not impossible. One more page, I promise. With this in mind, I've been focusing my free time on bite-sized pieces of this terrible mess because it is so overwhelming. In healthcare, we triage, we prioritize, it's what we do, right? We ask ourselves, who needs me right now? So if you're like me right now, let's focus on our municipal elections, retaining our judges who have so far protected Pennsylvania from a lot of what is affecting other states, right? People see judges on the ballot, sometimes they don't know what to do when they see a judge. Am I gonna retain, am I yes, am I no, who is this guy? It's very hard to find information on the judges. There's no easy button, I wrote. The judges are supposed to be nonpartisan. There's a reason that we can't find the kind of information that is so easy to find when we look up a candidate. They're supposed to be nonpartisan. They're supposed to be following and protecting the Constitution. However, we know that that can be, that might not be the best way to, the best assumption to make, I guess. The judges are, okay, but this particular team that we have in Pennsylvania has been keeping us safe as far as the courts go to date, right? So we want to vote yes to retain. We want to tell everyone we know to vote yes to retain. Depending on how many offices are in the district where you're voting, you may have to flip your ballot over to the second side. So we're going to tell everybody, vote yes to retain, flip your ballot over to vote yes to retain. That's a very easy bite-sized piece that we can work on, right? If the values of your own community are not well represented by the candidates on the ballot, run a write-in campaign. You can do it. Every seat counts in local elections. This past primary, the Lackawanna County Republicans ran an extremely well-organized write-in campaign. They printed hundreds of sample ballots for each precinct with handwritten candidates' names on them, just for voters to use and copy onto their own ballot. It was incredibly organized. Do what they did. Follow their example, because it was effective. Use this strategy if you're interested in running for unopposed seat. In the end, all politics is local. You can affect change. Use your voice, use your vote, bring friends. Surround yourself with like-minded people when it feels like you're lost in this awfulness. Attend meetings, attend rallies like this one. Join boring policy Zoom meetings with Mark, because they're incredibly informative. They give you bite-sized pieces of what you can do in your local community. Read, write, walk, volunteer. You have power and there is hope. Thank you.
Well, I'd like to piggyback off of some of what the other panelists had said. I myself am a first-generation born American. My family is from Antigua. So being the first to be born here in this country means a lot to me. I watched my mother struggle working 3 jobs to take care of me and my 4 older brothers. I'm the last of the set, and so I had the benefit of private schools my whole life. And between my brothers and my mom, they struggled to get me through these private schools to make sure that I can have a good education to be able to compete around the world. I have family, my brothers even, were born in country. So they came here without documentation, some of them came without citizenship. Mom did ultimately get her citizenship. So 2 of my older brothers were able to benefit from that. One of them did not, and he got held up by ICE. He stayed in the detention center for a while. So I know the struggles and the pain of seeing what that looks like. Just recently, I learned that my mechanic, and you know, while he's my mechanic, he's part of my circle. He's part of my inner trust, because this is somebody that holds my life basically and my children's lives in their hands. Come to find out that ICE just showed up at his business. He's a business owner. He owns 2 garages in Luzerne County, and he got picked up and sent back to Mexico within a week and a half of being picked up from ICE. So I say all that to say that this bill is affecting us all on a very close level. In terms of SNAP benefits and housing, I come from a real estate background. I'm an active realtor here in Luzerne County, and I also cover Lackawanna and several other counties. And just being a realtor for the last 5 years in the area, I've seen the changes. I've seen how people are no longer able to afford houses that they might have one time, maybe 5 years ago, been able to afford. And bigger than owning a home, they can't even rent. I have families, 2 and 3 families at a time, living in a 3-bedroom apartment. And all of this is a trickle-down effect from what this bill is affecting our daily lives and our families. It's sad to see, and it really brought tears to my eyes to see that we are losing our benefits. My own family, I'm not from a lofty place. We have social services, we have benefits. We've lost our medical benefits. We've lost our food assistance benefits. Thankfully, I'm a veteran, so I at least have that, and I can rely on the VA, but even that is turning, turning south at this point. So we don't know where to turn, and with all the changes just coming so rapidly, it feels like if they're trying to wash us out with like a tidal wave, so you're so off balance, you don't know which direction to turn. You don't know what to do. You don't know what to expect. You don't know who to trust. And many of us, not myself, but we have voted for the people like Bresnahan and for our dear president, and under the guise of promises made, promises to help our communities, promises to help further our educations and our children, and none of that is happening. And then to have the audacity to make this big bill and then delay the actual effects of it. So that's the way I feel. I feel like we really need to stand together. We really need to raise our voices in one and really make Washington and the people that we voted for understand the vows that they took to us and stick to them.
Thank you.
I just want to say one thing about healthcare in this country. Because when they talk about cutting Medicaid, they say we can't, all of us can't afford to pay for health insurance for working people, for poor people. I want you to understand something. There is no one in this country who gets health care that isn't subsidized by the federal government. No one. If you say you get health insurance through your employer, about 60% of us do, you get a massive tax break, and your employer gets a massive tax break that makes that insurance affordable to you. If you get health insurance through the ACA exchanges, you're getting a big subsidy. If you're on Medicare, we all say we paid for that Medicare, but you know what? You're getting a lot back, more back than you paid in. We're all subsidized by the federal government. And say you're the richest person in the world, you still need to go to a hospital. You know who paid to build those hospitals? We all did with our federal tax dollars. You got to go to a doctor. You know who pays to train residents? We all do through our tax dollars. And you may depend on some drug that's been invented just in the last 15 or 20 years, or a medical procedure that was invented in the last 15 or 20 years. You know who paid for the research? for those medical procedures and for the drugs and the pharmaceuticals that do wonderful things that couldn't be done 40, 50 years ago. We all paid for them through our tax dollars. And the richest person in this country could not afford, if he had some rare disease, to pay for that drug to be developed or to pay for that medical to be developed. The richest person in this country, Elon Musk, he could not get health care that he might need without all of our tax dollars. So don't tell me that we can't afford to have one group of people who happen to be working class people whose jobs do not provide them health care, or who sometimes are unemployed, or sometimes have a family emergency and can't work. Or people who have opportunities. This is a cruel day for me. My daughter just passed her licensing exam for social work today. I just got a phone call when I walked into the room that she passed it. You know where she gets her health care from while she was in social work school? From Medicaid. My wife is a psychiatrist for medical students at Drexel College of Medicine. Half of those students are on Medicaid. They couldn't be getting a medical education without that health care. We are all in this together, and we need to understand we're all in this together, and we need to stand up for everyone, because no one should be left out of health insurance and health care in this country.
Thank you.
So we're gonna open up the invitation for you to ask questions, but there are a couple of numbers that I also want to share just in terms of impact of this bill on Pennsylvania alone. Nearly 500,000 Pennsylvanians stand to lose health coverage. Nearly 1 million families, children, and veterans stand to lose their food assistance. So we're taking food off the table. This bill is also passing a giant budget impact down to the state level. $55 billion budget hole will be blown in the Pennsylvania state budget because of the federal government pushing this down to the state level. These are astronomical numbers, and it does not have to be this way. There was a choice made. In Pennsylvania, I've learned since being here, there are at least five, possibly 8 rural hospitals that, because of the payments that Medicaid makes to those hospitals to fund the doctors, the nurses, the caretakers, 8 hospitals in Pennsylvania may close because of this. These are catastrophic events, and this was a choice that GOP members of Congress made. This was a choice. This did not have to be this way. Please, let's give the panel another giant round of applause. So at this point, we want to invite, if you have a personal story or a question for any one of us, we want you to leave with information. And we want to give you a call to action and what comes next, but we're going to invite anyone to please join us up at the mic, and we'll take as many as we can before we turn this back over to one of our organizers. So please, thank you.
Okay, Mike's good? Yeah.
Mike's
Thank
great.
you for the invitation. Information is great. Personal information is even greater. But what I want to appeal to us is each of us to look within ourselves and see, are we translating what we know into what we do? We have to be active. Now, I will say on the behalf of myself and a small group I'm with here today, we just came from Bresnahan's office. And we handed him an invitation to a town hall that we will be doing September 19th at the Settlers Inn in Hawley, Pennsylvania. Every one of you, if you could be there, we'll make a spot for you. We don't really anticipate that he's going to be there, but we will make a big deal either way. There was an article in the River Reporter when he didn't come to our most recent town hall, and the headline was, "They're talking, who's listening?" And I think that's going to be the theme for this town hall. So any of you, September 19th, you'd be more than welcome. Thank you.
Can I ask you come back. So this is a theme all across the country that members of the Republican Party who voted for this bill are not meeting with the constituents. If I was your congressman, if I was Representative Bresnahan right now, what would you say to me?
What would I say to you?
Yeah, what would you say to me?
When you write a letter to me, which he's written a letter to me, and he said there's a lot of misinformation being distributed, I would say we really want to know what that misinformation is. And we want to check it with what we know, what we learn at gatherings like this. And I would say it is your responsibility. It's the oath you've taken to show up and interact with us, not one of these online scripted kinds of a town hall, which, you know, they announce they're doing those.
Great.
Okay.
All right, thank you.
I'd like to add that over 145,000 residents are in Bresnahan's district that are directly affected by this. Over 11,000 of them will be losing their SNAP and Medicaid benefits. So I would think that that's people that you want to pay attention to, right? These are the people that you want to be transparent with, that you want to have conversations with, that you want to go to the town halls with and speak with and confer and see where the problem lies, because as leadership has to hear what the people have to say in order to be able to fix the problems.
All right, the mic is yours. Come on up, please. And we can form a line. This is Connor, he can help. Come on.
Hello, I have a two-part question. I sent Rob Bresnahan 3 emails asking, I'm always hearing that undocumented immigrants are getting Medicaid and Medicare. That's my first question. I asked him directly, how many of those people are in the state? How many are in his district? He sent me one response and it had nothing to do with the answer.
That's right.
My second question is, I understand there's emergency Medicaid that if an undocumented immigrant were to have a severe accident, they could go to a doctor, a hospital, a clinic, and emergency Medicare or Medicaid would take care of that. Does this bill have any effect on that? Will it take away that option for people?
So in general, undocumented immigrants do not get any Medicaid, they do not get Medicare, they do not get Social Security, despite the fact that they pay Medicare taxes and they pay Social Security taxes and they pay general taxes, they pay real estate taxes. In many cases they pay federal income taxes and state and local property taxes. Now the only exception is if an undocumented immigrant, say, shows up at an emergency room in severe pain or distress or at death's door, then since hospitals in this country have a responsibility to take care of anyone, whether they have insurance or not, who shows up at that situation. If an undocumented immigrant would show up at a hospital in that situation, Medicaid would pay for the care they get, up until this bill. This bill has now taken away that Medicaid reimbursement for people. Yet hospitals are still legally required to treat those people, which means hospitals are going to have to pick up the cost for it. Of course, they're not going to pick up the cost for it. They're going to pass it on to everyone else. Which is the same thing that's going to happen with all the people who don't have Medicaid anymore. They're still going to get emergency care, and again, hospitals will not be compensated for them. Almost 30% of the currently the care that is otherwise that would be uncompensated is picked up by Medicaid. That's all going away, or most of it's going to go away, which means hospitals are going to pick up the burden, which means a lot of hospitals are going to close. And 8 is a very low estimate of what it's going to be in rural Pennsylvania, and in some urban areas as well. Thanks for the question.
So to add to that, answered. I worked within my community to help out, filling applications of anything that needs to be done in English. And I can tell you that even if you come into this country legally, you don't qualify to get Medicaid or any type of services up until after 5 years of being in this country. You don't, because the person that brings you here, it is responsible for you and for everything. It's supposed to provide you with insurance or money until you get a job, and then, hopefully you can pay for your own insurance, but you don't qualify up until after 5 years of being in this country, even if you're a legal resident.
I was just going to quickly add, as a nurse, so we have strict guidelines when it comes to emergency care. Whoever presents at an emergency room, if it's a pregnant woman and we don't even have a labor and delivery unit, we still have to provide care for you. No matter who presents at an emergency room, you have to provide care for them, and that's everybody. There are so many things that these chronically ill, Medicaid patients, you cannot cure in an emergency room. I always say you can't cure cancer in an emergency room. In my own family, my son's Crohn's was something that could not be cured in an emergency room. So when it comes to, undocumented people, any person at all who presents at an emergency room will receive care to get them through the initial crisis. But then the follow-up, any subsequent, follow-up that's needed will not be covered. So I just wanted to clarify that we have to. We don't have a choice. It's within it's federally mandated, actually. It's an EMTALA rule, so.
Thank you.
So this isn't actually a question. My name is Jennifer. I'm also a registered nurse. I work with Jen. I've been a registered nurse for 30 years, and it just came over the wire that our infamous Health and Human Services Secretary, RFK Jr., has just taken away $500 million in funding for vaccine research. So with that being said, the money taken away is specifically targeting mRNA research, which to most people they find controversial, which I do not understand why, because mRNA vaccine research has been in the works since the first SARS crisis over 12 years ago. If it wasn't for mRNA vaccines, Jennifer and myself would probably be dead. We went to work every single day during COVID. I don't want to hear anybody belittle COVID. In the early days, we did not understand COVID, and many people died because we did not know how to treat it. That's right. If it wasn't for the mRNA vaccines, we would have many, many more people dying from it, including the healthcare workers who were taking care of those people. So anybody who voted for Bresnahan and McCormick, who pushed RFK's nomination through to be a Health and Human Services Secretary, should be tarred and feathered. Not only did he take away our vaccines, but he is spreading lies. We now have measles back, which we never had a measles outbreak like we are having now. Polio is coming back. Smallpox is coming back. People These things were not in our library 20, 30, 40 years ago, and they're coming back. So if I were you, I would go to your doctors and make sure you're up to date and see if you need boosters, because it's coming back. And I'm not trying to fearmonger you, but it's back. And you have a Health and Human Services secretary who's living in La La Land. And he's spreading, and I'm not calling it misinformation. That's a ridiculous statement. He is spreading lies. Let's call it for what it is. It's medical lies. So just keep that in mind. When you go to a hospital now, make sure you know your health history, make sure you know your vaccine history, and make sure you know that your doctors are all AMA certified and that they are on board and not following this quack.
Thank you.
I have a two-part question. One of them, it has to do with this, with the bill. It's been understood, and I'm not sure if it's correct or not, maybe somebody can answer this, that because of this bill, it's going to activate or trigger automatic pay-go cuts, which would then face or have Medicare face a $500 billion in reduction nationally, and also Medicaid cuts as well.
Sure. So the Medicaid cuts are part of the bill. The Medicare and Social Security cuts will come because of the great increase in the deficit. And, you know, the astonishing thing is Republicans complain about the deficit over and over again, but when they have to choose between rewarding billionaires and huge corporations with tax cuts or deficits, they choose deficits. I mean, they choose the tax cuts and the hell with worrying about the deficits. But there's a process called sequestration, and that's part of the pay-go rules. And if the budget deficit any year gets too great, there are automatic cuts to big swaths of the federal government, and that actually does include Medicare and Social Security. Now, Congress may act to stop that, but there's no guarantee that they're going to do that. And they have an excuse. We didn't vote for this. It's part of something that's been part of the law for, I don't know, 20 years, and it's just automatic. We can't stop it. But that is certainly a possibility.
Great. My second question is, my sister, she has an autistic kid who's on Medicaid. And with this work requirement, who makes the decision as to who needs to go to work in order to support being on Medicaid? I mean, he's in his 20s, maybe mid-20s, early 30s, and he's, you know, he can walk and talk and whatever, but autistically, he can't really hold a job. Are they going to expect him to hold a job? And who makes that decision?
Probably he won't be, because the precise decisions about individuals will be made by state agencies or county assistance offices. Here's my fear. When you're talking about, many people on Medicaid are vulnerable in lots of ways. They may not have jobs, or they may have children who need help, and we're going to expect them to file lots of paperwork. You know, I have to re-up my health insurance like once a year. Now we're going to say if you're on Medicaid, you have to recertify twice a year, plus you have to fill out paperwork to get exemptions from work requirements. And we don't even we're calling them work reporting requirements. The vast majority of people on Medicaid already work, or if they don't work, they're taking care of children or people who are disabled in one way who can't work, or they're taking care of seniors. So it's not like this is going to make anyone work. What it's going to do is force them to report, and that reporting is going to be hard. And how many people lose depend in part on how aggressive our state is in helping people get on Medicaid and stay on Medicaid. We're going to be putting out a paper maybe 6 months or I'm sorry, in 6 weeks or 2 months, that's going to say what we want the state to do to help people. But even the best system of help is going to let people fall through the cracks. So
basically,
it's a difficult situation.
So depending on the state, if you happen to be in a Democratic state, there's a possibility that you have maybe less paperwork to maintain your Medicaid would be more viable as opposed to being in a Republican state where they can just kick you off for being.
That's true, except remember one thing. The state is going to have to spend more money to hire people to do that work. And right now, we have a Republican state Senate that won't vote to subsidies to keep our transit systems in operation, transit systems that very much affect whether our economy works or not. Are we going to be able to get the Republican Senate to vote for another $100 or $150 million for navigators, for helpers, for social workers? We will see, but we're going to do the work to try to say this is what our state has to do, and we're going to help organize people to demand that the Republicans in the state government come up with the money to pay for this.
Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Eric Skelton. I'm from Wyoming, Pennsylvania. I have more of a statement than I do a question. It's a definite statement. In a few short months, some Democratic candidates are going to come probably to a bunch of us here, and they're going to look for our support to run against Bresnahan next year. And I am sick and tired of compromise. I'm sick and tired of playing a nice guy. I'm not alone. We have various Democratic leaders that are now kind of making the turn. Gavin Newsom, a couple months ago, he was talking about compromise and 80-20 and meeting people. Now he's getting more fire in the belly. Governor Hochul today, she just put out a statement about gerrymandering and redistricting. And I just want to say to us, and I want to say to whatever candidates might start knocking on our door or coming to our gatherings, that my support is transactional. I expect things. I want things. I have a list of things. I don't want to shake hands, and I don't want to hear about their kids, and I don't want to hear about their backstory. I don't care. There's things I want. I want Medicaid, Medicare restoration. I want ICE cut. I don't want a single dime. Nothing. Nothing for ICE. Right? These are the things I have expectations. I'm going to have a report card. And when they get in there, I don't want to shake their hand or smile at them until I see these things accomplished. Right? So we are living in the age of Trump, for better, for worse. And we have to fight Trump with the rules of Trump. And he don't compromise. He fights with fire. And I want to send a flamethrower to Washington. I don't want anything else. I want a flamethrower. So whatever candidate comes to us and they shake our hand, I want to look them dead in the eyes. I don't want to smile. I don't want anybody to smile. I say, we want 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Are you going to do this? Do you pledge to do this? If you're not going to do this, we'll find somebody else. We want flamethrowers next year. Thank you.
Thank you.
So as a candidate and a potential leader of a community, I believe that we should be transparent and accessible to our residents and our constituents. As Eric has just said, they want to see results. They don't want to just, come shake your hand, smile at you, and then hear about all the wonderful things that you're going to do, and then you turn around and backstab and don't do any of the things that you promised or vowed to do. So I think as leaders, we need to have more transparency, we need to be more accessible, and we need to be held accountable for when we say we're going to do something, that is exactly what we follow through and do.
All right. I want to, on behalf of everyone, thank you so much for being here, for being in this fight. I'm going to turn it over to my good friend Dwayne in just a minute. But I want to share what folks are saying in other rooms like this across the country. And that is very much in harmony with what's been said tonight. We get to set the demands. If we want a system that represents our families, that centers our experiences, we have to organize to make that true. And so we at Fair Share America are staying in this fight. We are staying in this fight beyond 2026, and we are fighting to repeal the whole damn thing. And I believe that politicians in Washington, D.C. will only respond when we are loud and clear and we make them respond to us. So I got a lot of applause tonight, so I want everyone to start saying this with me. So I'm going to say it, and I'm going to ask you to say it back. Repeal the whole damn thing. 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 All right, I think we know what we can ask for the candidates who come knocking on our doors. And also, we're going to get to work helping shape a set of demands that come from us. Because repeal is not enough. The system wasn't working good enough before. So if we're going to repeal the whole damn thing, let's replace the damn thing. Let's put the corporate income tax back on the table. Let's raise their rates. Let's raise the rates for the rich folks and the millionaires and the billionaires. Let's tax the jets, the yachts, the third, fourth, fifth homes. There's nothing that we can't do if we are clear and we build an agenda together. And I've been in Washington, D.C. I've been traveling this country. This isn't going to happen because we're nice and polite. We have to do the work. We have to be the leaders that we've been waiting for because they are not coming to save us. And there's something really awesome about that because that means each and every one of us is now an organizer in the fight. And your experience and your time matters. So Fair Share America will be back, and I'm going to pass it to my really friend Dwayne, who does incredible organizing, to talk about what's planned next right here in Pennsylvania. So thank you so much, everyone. Give another round of applause for the panel.
Hey folks, it does my heart good to see so many people here. I'm the campaign director for the Pennsylvania Policy Center, and I live right here in Scranton. We have done well over 100, I think we're pushing 120 events so far. And one of the things that I've heard repeatedly at all of these events is that you feel you don't have a voice, right? People hear that everywhere. And I have to say that we started our campaign as the federal fight back, but then we quickly shifted, especially when the bill went to the Senate, to the hometown fight back. And why we did that was a vision that we had that no matter where you live in Pennsylvania, I don't care if you live right here in Scranton or in some small town in some corner of the state, we want to help you to find your voice. And that might look differently for each of you. It might be help with just sending a letter to the editor. It might be help with maybe some social media work. It might be help putting on a town hall, or maybe doing a vigil, or a congressional visit. Any of those things, talking points for a house party. I'd like to have one. Maybe I can invite all of you to it. You're all here, so, but the idea is that we need to, no one is coming for us, as we just heard. It's up to us to do this. And so, with that in mind, I have a big stack of business cards in the back with my cell phone number on it. And please, if you're even thinking about doing something, and you should be, because if we're not going to do it here, who's going to do it, right? So just give me a call. Yes, thank you. Give me a call, send me a text, send me an email, reach out to me, and I will work with you. And we have a core group of people that are really fighting here, and I want to shout out to all of you because you know we've been showing up almost on a weekly basis here, and I'm sure the partners were identified earlier on. I was in jury duty, so I couldn't do that, but I just really want to let you know that we are here to support you. And with that in mind, I ran home and I have hundreds of these. And so, we have a bunch of them outside, right? I don't want Congressman Bresnahan to be able to go around the block without seeing one of these, right? And so please help yourself to as many as you like. If we run out, give me a call. I need to, they're at my house, so we'll take care of that. We'll get that out to you. Also, when the event is done here, I encourage you to mingle with each other, but also there's a big bus out there, right? And guess what? There's Sharpies too. I want you all to sign the bus. I want more signatures from Scranton than anywhere else, and some of you did this when the bus was here to begin with. So, and so in closing, I just want to say, we all realize that these are safety net programs. A lot of people, when you say Medicaid, they think it's for someone else. It's for us. It's ours. Any one of us could lose our insurance, and that's what we need, right? And the really, I think, important part of this, and I think of it like if you pick up a stick, you automatically pick up the other end too. You cannot talk about cuts to Medicaid and SNAP without talking about where the money is going, and it's going to billionaires, and it's going to millionaires like Bresnahan, who don't deserve that kind of help. They don't deserve our tax dollars. It's for us. So be sure that you talk about that part of it, because you'll never hear anyone in Congress being proud about sending billions of dollars to billionaires. And that's exactly what they're doing. So, with all of that in mind, I have to say that they do have billionaires, but we really have each other. Right? And I think we're committed as a community to stand up for that. And I really, really thank you from the bottom of my heart for everything that you're doing. And I look forward to that conversation. Get your yard sign the bus, give me a call, and let's get to work. Thank you.